It's spring in Egypt, and at this farm outside Cairo, this year's crop of grapes are beginning to grow on the vine. The farm's owners, Wadi Food, planted this vineyard less than a decade ago, a sign of confidence in the country's fast-growing agribusiness sector. Tariq Tawfiq is the chairman of Egypt's Chamber of Food Industries.
Food exports in Egypt 2001 was around the vicinity of $60 million. Today, it's 2008, it's $1.8 billion.
Tariq Tawfiq is also managing director at Farm Frites, which has mirrored the country's growth story and is now Egypt's largest food exporter. It's taken advantage, along with the rest of the industry, of the country's geographical location. Angus Blair of regional investment bank Beltone explains.
What we've seen is that there's been a major move by major supermarket groups in dealing directly with Egyptian agribusiness companies as looking for alternative sources of food, being closer to Europe.
The sector is now attracting foreign companies to set up operations in Egypt, such as French dairy company Danone. Its initial success means the company will double its $53 million investment over the next 3 years.
We have grown our volume dramatically. We have reached market leadership in less than 3 years. We have now 42% market share.
While Kraft Foods have been operating in Egypt since 1997. Its annual turnover in the country is now $64 million, and it exports 25% of its Egyptian products.
We see in Egypt as a source and a hub for the region because of the competitive prices and the source of materials that we do provide here. And we can easily use Egypt as a hub to distribute and expand and export our business from here.
And despite the current economic climate, the sector, according to Ahmed Heikel, chairman of the Arab world's leading private equity firm, continues to grow.
It's a big population and a huge market, and we're seeing, even in this crisis, amid this crisis, the companies that we have invested in the sector growing at double digits, high double digits in the 30 and 40% in quantity terms, and in some cases even higher than that.
As Egypt's agricultural business continues to develop and grow, the trend, at least amongst some high-end producers, is to concentrate more on adding value to their staple produce. Of course, one of the fundamental problems facing Egyptian agriculture is the lack of water. But that's something that can be solved through an increased use of organic farming. At least according to Zakaria Al-Haddad, executive manager of the Egyptian Biodynamic Association.
You can save amount of 15% to 20% of the water used for agriculture. And this is in Egypt, we are using almost about 45 billion of cubic meters per year in agriculture. If you save 20%, it's quite a lot, about 9 billion, which can cultivate 2 million faddan.
That may be some time coming, but skeptics should note that the organic agricultural company Dr. Zakaria works for, Sechem, has already persuaded Egypt to curtail its use of chemical pesticides by some 90%. And making better use of what little water there is will also go some way to addressing the pressing issue of food security.
It is very important right now for Egypt to look at their agenda and see what crops are more important for them, which crops consume more water for what they give, which crops are strategically important for the country.
And the issue of food security could also be to Egypt's advantage.
You see, the scarcity of water and food security in the Gulf dictates on a lot of Gulf areas to look outside their region. Egypt, because of a lot of good reasons, proximity, relative transparency compared to a lot of countries in the area, enforcement of law, again, relatively to other countries, gives them a better opportunity to invest on a more secure basis.
Egypt's agribusiness has been dormant for a long time, but the seeds have now been planted for future growth. Even the global fears over swine flu should not unduly affect its future prospects, since Egypt, being primarily a Muslim country, has few pigs. The sector's future looks healthy.